Welcome to the stream. In exciting crypto news, 5-time Emmy award-winning team Muse Storytelling has announced the Highest of Stakes HEX documentary will premiere in Regal Theatres on the 4th and 5th of August. Will it trigger a HEX price pump? Stay tuned to find out. To give us further context, we're joined by two of the producers of the film, Toby, who's coming shortly, and Big K, who's here, as well as popular HEX streamers. We have Crypto Coffee, Hod Pearl, Maddie Allen, and Raquel in alphabetical order because I'm politically correct. Welcome and thanks for joining the stream. And here is Toby. Welcome.
Yes.
Thank you for being here. How's everyone feeling?
Feeling good.
Very good.
That's excellent. And what I thought is that we will say hi to the chat and then we might play the official trailer. So first off, first person, Dingo Wolf. Thank you for being here. Johnny Chaos, already trolling in the chat. Thanks for that. You're welcome on the stream as well, Johnny. DJ Creditors, maybe my own personal mix for my introduction. I'm just scared of copyright, so I haven't played it, but I'm going to play it for you guys after the stream. It's so incredible. Josh Perry, thanks for being here. The Pulse Tube, Chris Side Effects. Everyone, feel free to post your questions in the chat, and I will try my best to get to them. Without further ado, we are going to play the official trailer.
Okay, we are set for you, Richard. What do you want people to know about you?
I got a big dick. This here is $3.1 million of watches. I own the world's biggest diamond. You don't. I do.
Who is Richard Hart?
Genius.
Legendary.
Arrogant.
Bit of a narcissist.
The benevolent king.
$250,000. Hate me. I'm farther than you'll ever be in your whole life.
Who does this guy think he is?
Whatever the governments have been doing, it's not worked out. You've never had worse interest rates. Your money has never been worth less. Everything is getting worse. The only thing that's making it better is cryptocurrency.
It's better than the dollar. It's better than gold. It's better money.
Crypto is money without governments, and it is money without banks.
You're not going to meet another product like this as long as you live. Yes, every scammer in the world is going to tell you something similar.
Good morning, everyone. Are you ready to look for some fraud this morning?
They are promising 40% annual percentage return.
I want to make people millionaires. I've made thousands of millionaires.
Richard Hart's HEX token is a brilliant scam.
Desperation has a look to it. And when you're looking for just anything, you will fall for anything.
HEX is going to be the new cryptocurrency. We'll take over the market. There isn't anything else out there that's worth the shit.
Everything I have worked for all of my life is staked in HEX.
Good. I put it all in.
All what?
All of our house money.
Why is it important to you?
I want to feel loved. Don't you guys want to feel loved? Everyone wants to feel loved, right?
Richard is the Messiah.
Savior. God.
That sounds like a Ponzi scheme.
Yes.
That you're incentivizing
Sounds
people
like
to pull money off the market.
You know what? I think you just described a 401k.
If the music stops, they're sitting on nothing. HEX doesn't make money. That's where I'm so frustrated. What is the value?
Here's the benefits. Do you want to get rich?
No, I don't think that it's a scheme. Because I trust Richard Hart.
It seems like some of this is just a large performance art project. And if ultimately this is all a big performance art project, people are going to get fucked.
I mean, you can fool a couple people, but I mean, can you fool that many?
So then I should trust you.
Listen, I think you should trust me, but if you get into the habit of trusting people like me, you get the crap scammed out of you.
Wow, that was epic. How's my audio after I played that?
Good.
My audio is good. Thank goodness. In my little practice round, I had some audio issues. That was incredible. It's hard not to react to that trailer in real time. I was a bit worried that our faces were up on the screen there because I was like, in parts, and And I'm Australian, so I've got to keep my swear words to myself as well. Let's get straight into the questions. So first question is for Big K and Toby. What is it about the founder, Richard Hart or HEX, that compelled you to produce this film?
I have giant bags.
Yeah.
I mean,
you stole my answer.
Keeping it real. I love it.
I want things to do. I'd like more eyes on the project. That's more important than anything. I think that, getting our, in front of more people. I mean, HEX is still, our entire ecosystem is still incredibly small, even compared to all of cryptocurrency in general. So getting more eyes out there was always the intended goal for me.
Nice.
Yeah, I would echo those remarks. But basically, it was more along the lines of I felt like I could be doing more, and I just started streaming more often. Maddie's had me on Tuesday nights pretty regularly now. I'd pop on Discord Syndicate here and there, and I'm doing a lot of onboarding. I'm the person that kind of got the ball rolling with the Lex Friedman thing that never kind of unfortunately didn't follow through. But things like that behind the scenes, and I just felt like I needed a more active role, and the opportunity just kind of fell in my lap with having befriended Pat and Grant, and I thought, hey, this is a way for me to help. I don't have to sell anything to contribute. We were well into the bear at that point, so it was definitely a situation where you didn't want to solicit the community for any additional donations, and they needed some infusion of cash to help things get across the finish line. And what they've done so far with what all these other guys have contributed was amazing. And I thought, hey, if I can be a small part of that, sign me up. So here I am, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. It all depends on how it's received. But I think ultimately, the more eyeballs, the better, because even if a small percentage of those does some research and gets into these projects or these products that Richard's created, I think, the math is pretty obvious.
Look, this thing is just so incredibly exciting, and thank you both for being the producers. I want to throw it to the rest of the people on this panel. Like, do you guys want to ask them any particular questions about, all of these premieres that are happening across the United States, the official red carpet event? So, Coffee, Hodprul, Maddie, Raquel, you can just start peppering them with questions about the details surrounding the release.
I want to show the Chicago meetup real quick. August 4th and 5th, if anyone's watching, come hang out. Big K and I'll try to be useful, but I think Big K is planning something, and it's going to be fun before and after, just hanging out, probably heading to a bar. What's the you have any details on that, Big K?
There's a spot right across the street from the movie theater. It's like a little English pub. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, and we don't have it fully locked in for like the whole venue just yet. But I mean, it's open, and we'll so I'll be there one way or another. Cause I mean, it's like maybe 8 steps to the theater from there.
Yeah.
So
might as well get there early. Yeah. I'll be
get
there too.
early. Yep. We'll be hanging out both nights. Should be lots of fun.
Sold out show. 2 nights in a row.
2 nights
4th and 5th. So sorry, everybody. I guess there's really no point of shilling a sold out show anymore. But,
well,
we did it.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I'm excited for everybody to come on out, and I think that there's a good chance that since that's sold out, and both nights are now sold out, they may add another. They have added a bunch of Sunday shows in some other locations too. So I mean, I'm thoroughly pleased with the response from everyone so far. It's really awesome. I mean, I was hopeful, and I knew the Hexkins were ready to come out, but this has been an awesome response by everybody. I mean, it's really cool to see that. I mean, we broke their website already a couple times over. We've sold out tons of the dates, and they've added a whole bunch of extra dates, whole bunch of extra locations. We can now say we're in over 40 cities. So pretty awesome.
Miami and Austin are big ones, right? So Maddie's doing Austin, Texas. It's going to be huge. Miami was like the original, also going to be huge. The best crypto premiere. Everybody tells me it's the best.
I don't know of any crypto documentary that's like ever gained this kind of premiere status.
Well, it's a story, right? Like everyone wants a story, and all these other ones that I've seen maybe 2 or 3 Bitcoin documentaries, and they're boring as shit, man. They just it's kind of it makes it lame, and people want a character arc, and they want to either be on someone's side or not, and Richard's kind of the perfect anti-hero in a way.
Oh, for sure. And it's the kind of thing that you'll forget real quickly that you're watching a documentary. It feels like a movie. It's exciting and fun and engaging.
The soundtrack too, right?
Oh my gosh, that was one of my musical I've done a lot. I used to work in entertainment stuff. I've been in the studio for watching people, artists record and stuff. I've never been a part of the experience that was recording with the symphony orchestra that they had. They had a 40-piece orchestra that was with the person who composed the music in the booth giving notes the whole time, and the back and forth was incredible. And the orchestra was just they just took it it was incredible watching them take the notes and then just deliver every single take perfectly, and it sounded better each time. It was pretty flooring. So yeah, that was a real treat for me along this whole process. I can't wait for everyone to hear the tunes.
Yeah, even the trailer, it just draws you in, and you want to yell and scream. It's just very emotive with that orchestra. Maddie, tell us about the premiere that you're involved in.
This is the greatest story to be told in crypto, is what's happening now with the HEX community, with the Pulse Chain community. And it's all happening. Normally with such a significant documentary, you would see the story be told far after it had occurred. But now, the timing of this is really special. And so the fact that miraculously the second annual Pulse conference online is going to be held at the same time as this documentary dropping on August 4th and 5th is really exciting to me. I've always wanted to do an in-person conference in Austin, Texas, because out of the 40 cities that Crypto Sparbuck visited, that was the strongest attendance and enthusiasm was in Austin. And so if you go to the website, plsaustin.com, you can get the conference is now free for a 2-day conference. There's going to be a 48-hour live stream going at the same time, and people can get a free ticket to the movie. I've got 150 of those. And so, really, really exciting that this group of people is going to get to see it all together live in the theater and then be able to do conference stuff the next day. And again, to emphasize that this story is still unfolding. And so to be able to see that on the big screen and then to be able to live it, at the same time, I think it's going to be really cool.
We've got a question here. Thanks, Maddie. That was really well said. I love that. So Forks Mulder, post-production wrap before Pulse Chain launched, was it able to be added somehow?
I don't know exactly.
We haven't seen it, so
we haven't seen it. What I saw, the version that I saw with Alex when we screened the version in LA a few 3 months ago, did not have the launch on it yet. But I do know that they asked people for their footage of reactions and feelings to the launch. I do know that they had some plans to maybe have something about it. So I do think that I don't know, but I think that there'll be something. So
we'll see.
I think that
have to go and watch it and find out. Hot Pro, tell me about your premiere plans.
Oh man, probably gonna go see it.
It's a good start.
I'm not really doing any going to any big meetup or anything, but got some tickets and
nice
stuff.
Gonna
probably
play it low
just
key.
Go watch it. Maddie's really just gonna. You guys have Chicago's gonna be off the hook, and Austin's gonna be off the hook. You have the conference and people going to see this movie, and I feel bad. Well, I kind of feel bad for the people who aren't in the U.S. that can't be a part of it. Yeah. You really realize, Klaus. And then a lot of people in the chats are just like, whatever, guys.
Whatever, man. I don't even care anymore.
It'll come.
I've loved. I feel for all those people out there. It is
with a smile on your face, man. I can see that smile.
We'll show up though. The more this gets sold out, the more likely it is for other opportunities like that. So. Yep. So we Americans have to show up. You know what I mean? Yeah. We have to show up, get those tickets.
There was a question about the box set, and I like this question because I was thinking about getting a box set because I'm really impatient and want to see this movie, right? Where's that question about the box set? Here. It says, BK or Chubby1, do either of you know anything about the box set, specifically about subtitles for the film? What languages are available? I hope to take my copy around Japan to be shown.
Good question.
That is a
good question. I do not know specifically about, but Crypto King, I will find that answer out for you and get it to you and get it to have it for future interviews that I'm doing. I mean, specifically about that, no, I don't know. I do know there should be some subtitles, but I do not think that I'm not sure what languages. So.
Great questions, guys, and we'll keep going through questions as we go. But we've got more planned questions ahead. But firstly, Raquel, will you be going to the premiere?
I will. I'm going on the 5th instead of the 4th.
Oh, lovely. Are you going to tell us what city, or is it going to be super secret surprise?
Well, either Miami or Orlando.
Oh, lovely. And have you got a dress?
My outfit picked out. I have a really nice dress and shoes.
I can't wait to see the dresses. Oh my goodness. Okay, we've got lots of questions, so we're going to keep going. So next question is to Crypto Coffee, 2-part question. First question for Crypto Coffee. Firstly, I would like to just give slight background on Crypto Coffee. So Crypto Coffee is one of the top 3 HEX YouTubers. He's known for being level-headed. He gives some of the best explanations as new projects come in front of us amongst the HEX and Pulse Chain community. He knows a lot about search engine optimization and marketing. So first question for Coffee. What is it about HEX that made you realize it was worth investing in?
I wanted to get rich. Like, same reason all you guys got in. What the hell are we talking about? It's crypto.
Awesome. I'm loving these answers. We can go straight to question
tech, bro. Oh, fuck that. No, look, I've been in crypto since 2015. All right. Made a lot of money, lost a lot of money. Degened in every possible way you could. Learned what worked, what didn't work. And then when Richard came along, started preaching common sense about long-term holding. It's like, oh yeah. I mean, and that was around 2017 where being a Bitcoin maxi sounded like a good idea because everyone was just so freshly wrecked. And, I like to call myself a recovering Bitcoin maxi because goddamn, if I was still stuck with those guys, that would just be kind of sad. Kind of cringe.
Would be very sad. You wouldn't smile anymore. You would be knowing of this laughter that's happening.
Yeah, it's just it's awful, just to keep hanging on. It's like being a VCR maximalist, but now you got DVDs out. And it's like, hey guys, we got Blu-ray over here.
You'd have to preach about the granddaddy Bitcoin chart. It's gonna get up, guys. I swear.
I know. I think Bitcoin tops at maybe 80 to 100K. It's a really heavy object to move at this point, but the longer that Daddy Larry Fink can help extend our bull run, I think the more we can all pamp together. It's going to be glorious. I got into HEX. I recognized it as a good investment simply just because I understood the value proposition that Richard was portraying. And I really had to, I think I'm a good judge of character. I looked at that guy and I was like, well, he's eating his own dog food. And if he actually believes in what he's saying, I think he's the type of guy that's going to not give up on this thing, and not going to bail in 2 years like every other crypto founder does. And he's gonna be on the ship whether it sinks or swims, basically. So I'm like, you know what? If this ship goes down, I'm going to go down with it too. So why not? And then I was one of the first people to get on YouTube and express my belief and my opinions. Obviously I voted with my money, right? With the staking ladder. I did a 5,555-day stake like a lot of other people did. And those early people that jumped on board kind of formed the very first snowball that started rolling down the hill. And it just it reached critical mass. And in my opinion, there's no going back anymore. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube anymore. So we've got this giant community right now. It's all spread out. A lot of people might have forgotten that long-term holders win. There's a lot of degeneracy and shitcoinery going on, but that's okay. All we can do is try to preach what we know to be right, and that's holding long term. Even after HEX, even after waiting for HEX for 2 years, I still took another 2.5 years after that to see the life-changing returns. So anybody thinking they were going to get rich in the first 2 months, sad for you guys. But so it turns out a lot of people believed in the idea as well. It's a better Bitcoin. It's a store of value. And it really is. I mean, people say, oh, it's down 90%, but if you bought it 2.5 years ago, it's up massively. And I think it's going to do it all over again. Really hoping the price is up a little bit by the time the documentary is out. But it's also just a premiere, right? So it's not going to be like the whole world is seeing it. Does anybody know if, like, are we pitching? Did Netflix buy this? Does anybody have any insider info on that?
Good question.
We don't have any insider info on that. But whatever deals we do get will be bolstered and will be better as well. Like, I mean, because of these fantastic launch, this premiere. I mean, that is what the executives at these places are looking at and paying attention to. So if, there's not many documentaries that come out the gates with sold out shows everywhere swinging that hard. So, like, I mean, it's going to be a lot easier to get their marketing money behind us. Because that's, I mean, again, any of these movies, a lot of these, anything you do, like, I mean, you could put something on Amazon like tomorrow, on Prime tomorrow. And like a lot of these places you can get onto, but it's about how much of a push they're going to provide for us, what kind of, eyeballs they're going to try and get us in front of, that's all that stuff matters the most, so like this, we're, as Pat and Grant said in that other interview recently, this is about like minimizing the risk as best as we can for executives that are looking at buying and getting
Gotcha.
Having this on.
It's kind of legitimizing everything. And if we got sold out shows everywhere, it's just more hype.
Well, it's
exactly.
It's proof of not bots too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like that's the thing too. If you can imagine, being someone that's working at Netflix or one of these streaming services and you're getting flooded with emails, and it's almost like the old days where it's like, hey man, will you listen to my demo tape? And then like everybody's like, sure, man. And then they throw it on their desk and they're like, whatever. So it's the same deal. They got a glut of emails with like, files to maybe watch, maybe not, how compelling is it? Can you get their attention and keep their attention? Does it have enough? Does it have enough teeth? Is it a Tiger King? Do you have a throuple? Do you have somebody committing suicide? Do you have somebody getting their arm ripped off by a tiger? Do you have enough like pizzazz to keep it interesting? And like Maddie was saying, it's like, this is something that's ongoing. So, nobody's in jail. Nobody's died that I know of. I hope not. And, there's no big FTX scandal thing around it. So I'm really interested in seeing what the new ending of the movie is. Because the cut that I saw, I was like, yeah, this is really educational. I was really surprised at how much education they were able to pack in without, just having your audience glaze over. Because you got to figure, it's like we all have been in this for a minute, so we've got the jargon, and we can talk about it very comfortably with each other and not miss a beat. You're going to lose people almost immediately if you're not really, really specific in the way that you're talking about it, and they did a great job in doing that while keeping it entertaining and keeping the story moving. So I was really impressed with that. So I think all of this kind of bodes well for how this will be received once we do phase 2, which Pat and Grant have talked about on some interviews recently. And they're looking at Europe. There's already talks of that as far as having screenings there. With a physical theater release, it's like you can't VPN. That's just one of those deals. You got to physically be where it's happening. But they're working on that, and all of this stuff is going to bolster the argument for it being like a real community, a real DeFi movement, a real grassroots libertarian, if you will, type of group of people out there that are rallying around this thing. And it's not just like another email I got for like some crazy documentary. Right.
For sure. Yeah. So what I want to do, because we touched on, Coffee just touched on, there's a few of you that went from BTC to HEX. So what I want to do is just show a clip here.
It's not a documentary, it's a movement.
I was like yelling at the top of standing in my chair. Fuck this guy. Yeah, this guy is fucking, what? Who does this guy think he is? I was upset. I straight up blocked it. My first hearing of Bitcoin, I was on a forum. They said, hey, if you turn on your graphics card while you're not playing games, you make about $3-4 a day. Just out of nowhere, I've got, in 10 days, I got $30 in my wallet or whatever of these coins. And I'm like, what is going on here? This is crazy. I was immediately hooked. So next thing I know, I've got 3 graphics cards and 2 different computers running in my room. there's something here. I wrote up a business plan. I was driven. So I didn't stop there. I found two friends of mine, and I was like, let's build a business together. Like, let's work out a deal. And he, very blasé in his way, was like, is $500,000 enough? And I was like, indeed it is, sir. It is.
That is
awesome.
so epic.
I
So
love
there's
that
a few
part.
of you that
love
went
it.
from BTC over to HEX. Like Maddie, I know that you went from BTC to HEX. What was it about HEX that brought you over?
Free money.
Nice.
So you could originally get 10,000 HEX for every Bitcoin that you free claimed. And I had just learned about free claiming. It seemed like a cool technical thing to learn because you had to learn how to create a signature from your wallet without losing your private keys. And so that was like, that was right up my alley. And, at the time, 10,000 HEX. So it was more that, like the process of self-custody, the process of, being able to create a signature and prove to the world that I owned this Bitcoin and I was here to claim whatever free tokens I could get for it. And then I also liked the idea of yield because that was something that had first been, I had seen that in the Bitcoin world, in the Bitcoin maxi world that I was studying. In their, in their cult, in their culture, they had started to talk about, yield is pretty cool. And there were a couple different coins that did that. HEX was one of them. And I think it's really true that people who appreciate store of value, people who appreciate self-sovereignty and stuff are really keen on the idea of being able to earn yields. That's really powerful.
Well done.
I think one thing we don't realize about Richard too is that he was true to his ideals for many, many years before he was finally proven right only in 2021, right? The last bear market collapse. The whole year of 2022 was like, oh yeah, BlockFi failed. When he was the one screaming, if you give your keys away to centralized middlemen to make a little bit of yield, that's not why Bitcoin was invented. But every Bitcoiner was like losing their minds over a little 4% yield by literally just giving all their Bitcoin away. And it takes a lot. I mean, it takes a lot to say the same message for 5 years and be so poorly received on it just to be proven right. And then still be poorly received because then everyone's just mad that they lost money and they're like, oh, well, fuck Richard anyway, because I don't know why anymore. But, you just see him spazzing out because they don't want to know why they hate him. And at this point, they probably hate him because they hate their own decisions and probably hate themselves.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that. We're going to get right into everything. Hodpril, but before I want to ask you a question, Hodpril, but before I do, Big K, you just saw that clip of yourself. What is it like watching yourself back? Is it like, oh my God, I'm like way hotter than I thought? Or are you like, no.
I mean,
you look hot, dude.
I thought
Patrick
it
and
looked
Grant
good.
did a fantastic job making me look great throughout the movie. So I was a huge fan of my part. And everything
I
did.
thought you looked good. Like,
I'm not opposed to how I look through it all. And they did hit, like they did a really good job at picking out the right parts to, because like, I mean, I'm a talker, so like some of the, there's a lot of interview and, information that we had. And they really picked out like the poignant moments and did a good job at like in the course of the interviews to find ways to get that out of me, because they had heard my story initially, when we started producing this, like they came to me and I started as a producer, and in the kind of beginnings of us understanding how much I knew about the ecosystem and the project and what my place was in all this. In that kind of, as we were getting to know each other, they realized, oh wow, your story is super, super interesting and fits this character role that Patrick was looking for pretty specifically. So like, that was where it was like, oh, and it was totally, oh, you should be in the movie too. And so in all of that, it was like going from like realizing that, hey, this is just whatever happened to me is this and that, and then them to be like, oh no, this is actually, I need to know this, and then them coming back to me in interviews later and being like, you need to give, like, remember when you were talking to us, like, remember when we first heard all this, we need that again, can come with that again. So like them finding ways to get me to, tap into what I, the like the excitement that I have over all this stuff was really impressive. Cause like there was, I mean, one interview in particular that we did it was after an event, and that we had thrown, and I was not at my definitely not at my yeah, perfect, but they really found ways to bring it out of me, and we got some awesome information, awesome stuff from that. So they're kick-ass at directing, and like I said, it was fun. It was fun. In general, I think I look great. So I'm all about it.
So Hot Pearl, did you go from BTC to HEX as well?
I did. I went from BTC. Well, I didn't take my whole entire bag at first, but I went from kind of BTC. Obviously, you have to do Ethereum, and then unless you free claim or whatever, then Monero a little bit, but then pretty much Bitcoin to HEX, because I just saw it as a better Bitcoin, and I hold. When I was mining Bitcoin, and when I did, I sort of lived on part of it, as passive income, and then let all of and then held the other percentage of it. And you look back and you realize, well, I have no regrets, but if you just held, you would have had more, right? And so what would be the token if you are committed to holding for at least 10 years? What token are you going to choose? Well, HEX, it's a no-brainer, right? It's a certificate of deposit. People are not usually good at holding. They're emotional. They want to jump on the next thing. A lot of people that had gotten to the Bitcoin in the first place wanted to jump on the next new thing. So you have that archetype, that sort of character archetype that is so smart or neurotic that they can't stop, right? And we have a lot of characters like that in crypto. So if there's anything that can help you hold, and not to mention gain yield on that, and have a solid community, so you're not afraid that this is going to just pump and dump and be done with it. I mean, look at all of these hexagons. You think we're not going to be around in 5 years? It's ludicrous. You know what I mean? 10 years, of course. So that's what it was. The desire to hold really brought me to HEX. Yeah.
So you've answered some of your question, Hodpearl. So I'm going to lean on your question a bit more. But firstly, I just want everyone in the audience to know how much I love Hodpearl. She's a HEX OG. She's a master at holding. She loves HEX staking. She's a wealth of knowledge, and she's been around since the beginning. So I wanted to ask you, Hodpearl, about the values. Like, what values does a HEX community possess compared to other crypto communities? And you've already been speaking about this, about the power of holding and of HEX staking. But I wanted you to get more into, if you don't mind, some DeFi principles. So what has Richard been preaching to all of us? Like, how do we differ from other communities?
Richard is going toward, and I wish more people really understood this, because a lot of them, in regards to Pulse Chain, what's the price going to do? You should stream more and all this stuff. Like, he's building the best DeFi system you can with just enough centralization to have it cohesive, right? You need the DEX. You need the chain that it doesn't cost astronomical amounts of money in gas. Obviously HEX is the next best Bitcoin, right? If you're a holder, especially. But that whole ecosystem, the way the liquidity pools are tied with all of these projects on Pulse Chain, they need to all exist on PulseX, and PulseX needs, to have a lot of volume, a lot of movement on it. So, PulseX is a huge step toward the DeFi movement, and PulseX does encompass Pulse and HEX, but in particular, that DEX is so important to the DeFi movement, and it needs time to grow organically. You want people on Ethereum and otherwise to be able to go and feel comfortable using PulseX. And so I think at this point, it's important for people to understand PulseX. especially newcomers.
I like that,
So
Hudbro. I like
that's
that a
it.
lot.
Yeah.
Nice. So I want to go around the room a little bit. So Richard sort of marketed, HEX as a scam from the beginning as a marketing ploy. We all know HEX isn't a scam. So I wanted to ask you in particular, Coffee, about this. So this was your second question to Coffee. So HEX did a 10,000x last cycle. HEX initially was marketed as a scam. Do you think the HEX is a scam narrative contributed to its success or was in spite of it?
Well, a lot of times it did feel like an uphill battle. It didn't feel like it helped HEX, but maybe in hindsight, maybe it partially did. I know people like a controversy, right? Look at some of the most popular people in the world. They're not people that just everybody wholeheartedly agrees with, right? They're people that are divisive, which is unfortunate too. I wish we could have like a more of a popularity contest based on merit and people actually liking the person for the majority, but that's not what sells, right? If it bleeds, it leads. I don't think HEX was deliberately marketed as a scam, but in the early days, Richard would say, I'm using scam-like tactics that you might find in other scams, but for a good cause. So it was like use similar scam marketing, but funnel people that would have otherwise been scammed into something better. But I think all that really meant was that he talked about the price when everybody else played this fairy tale game that they didn't care about the price. And so that really resonated with a lot of people that were like, yeah, okay, we can be in it for the tech. The tech is kind of cool, but I'm here to make money, dude. Like I want to like get a better life for myself. I hate my job. I don't like where my life is going. I want to dig myself out of debt, whatever it might be. And he was the only one with the balls to really talk about it at the time. Whereas all these crypto dorks were just like, oh, look at my super fancy ZK rollup thing. That's like the better tech is not going to make the price pump, right? So building in price positive feedback loops, pumpamentals, right? It's a silly name for it, but it's just design intentions that go into the smart contract that design HEX to be held and staked long term and reducing supply off the table by incentivizing the only thing that matters, which is people buying and holding. That was blasphemy to a lot of people because I guess in their minds they were like, wait, you can't tell everybody that we actually are in it for the money. Like we have to cover up our greed with all this technical complexity. So Richard was the only one speaking truth in that regard. And if that's scam-like marketing, then sure, I guess I got scammed into getting rich, which is great for me. So I don't know. In the early days too, it did say it was designed to do a 10,000x. People love to conflate design intentions with promises, though. So people are like, "Oh, it's promising 10,000x returns. It's promising 40% APY." It's like, well, it's designed to do 10,000x. Oh, and it did. So I guess you can't really use that one anymore. But people get so hung up on this. Oh, promising 38% APY. And I think that's because they're so ingrained in the traditional boomer system, like the legacy system that's basically failing, and they don't realize it. Has got us addicted to promises where it's just become the norm. And then when you have something that isn't a promise because it's literally just code printing out the inflation of 38% APY, it's people can't seem to connect those dots here. It's like, oh, you're trusting that 1 + 1 is going to equal 2 tomorrow because you're just trusting that the code is going to pay out the inflation rate. There's no human beings behind the scenes. It's like that guy in the movie, right? It's like, I'm a CFA, blah, 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 but I just can't understand where the value comes from. And it's like, because that's the old boys game, right? And we're making our own Ponzi, right? He's playing his Ponzi. He did well, but now it's our turn. So everything's a Ponzi. We're making a better one. Our magic made up internet money is better than theirs. But people just want there to be like a stock or a company behind it. And even the SEC, right? They tried to go after HEX. They couldn't find a middleman. They couldn't find the point person because there is none. And it's really hard for people to get through their mind that like, yeah, all these people out here are just crazy enough to actually like this product on their own volition. And we're not being paid by anybody and all that. So yeah, there's no building full of people generating the yield or doing any of the work. It's the only value of all this stuff is backed by other people's belief in it.
Well said. Thank you. Raquel, you're relatively new to HEX. You saw through, what other people would turn away and go, oh, I can't touch that. So what was it about HEX that you could see past all of, the FUD from other communities to see that it was valuable?
Well, I think what was good for me is that I saw the success before seeing all the videos about people calling it a scam. Because before that, I would see like, oh, people buying houses and, you know, look at my new home in Mexico or whatever. And so I saw the success first, and then I hear all this stuff like, oh, it's a scam. So that made me watch more videos and learn more about it from there.
Awesome. And I'm going to ask you your question now, Raquel. So what does being in the HEX community mean to you?
It means so much. Not to get like emotional or anything, but I think it's given me a new like sort of a purpose and a drive that I didn't have before, because I don't know, too many people don't know like too much of my story, but I used HEX to escape a really bad situation, and it's still helping me now. And I think it brought me like a new sense of hope and independence, and having a supportive community of people that I can talk to and surround myself with just makes it even better.
Thanks for sharing, Raquel, and we really appreciate you being open with us. And you're a really valuable member of the community, and I love it when you come on my streams. It's so good.
Thank you. I love being here.
That's awesome. Maddie, I'm going to hit you with a spicy question. Okay, so for everyone at home, he can take it. He's a therapist. He specializes in and he also knows a lot about addiction therapy as well. He's one of probably the top 3 HEX YouTubers, and he arranges all of our HEX and Pulse Chain conferences. So he's a legend. He drives a DeLorean. It's really cool. So here we go. Let's hit the spicy question. So Hexicans are often described as a cult. Some are too embarrassed to invite their friends or family to the film. What is your reaction to this label, and what would you say to these people?
I think like in general in society right now, people have every reason to be skeptical of things. And so to see such a powerful community and to see such bold claims from people who actually believe in something and have a future together, that's really different. And so not everybody's sure how to react to it. You know, we're not being paid to be here, but it seems like we are because we're all so enthusiastic in this community. And yeah, so it's something special. And so when people see that, and I think maybe when they see the trailer for the documentary, they're thinking to themselves, that sounds a little scammy, because it is being portrayed in that way. That's what HEX really felt like in the beginning. Was there wasn't much confirmation at all, if any, that this was a real thing or that it was a good idea, unless you actually dug into the details yourself. And I think it's meant to be that way because crypto is all about self-custody. And so it's really cool that this crypto is, through time locking, allowing people to build both self-custody and community, which are like kind of two opposite things in and of themselves. So it's a miracle that any of this works from a technical side, but also from a social side, it's also a miracle that it's working. And so people can call it whatever they want, as long as they come and watch the documentary / movement in real time.
I'm still
I love
not.
that.
I'm
I
still
always
not gonna
say,
invite
like,
my
if
mom,
it's a
though.
cult,
You're not going to bring your mom?
You guys,
I
you guys
I-
look like
if
trolling
it's a
your
cult,
family.
as long as it's a rich cult.
Class, I felt like you were I felt like you were talking to me directly. I'm like, yeah, I do not want to tell my mother about this documentary. She already doesn't. She already
Maddie,
thinks
help
I'm like
him.
up to no good. What?
So there's a 15-minute version that I posted on my channel that the clips were not in any particular order when the documentary crew gave them to like all the people who, you know, were part of the media packet. And so what a lot of people told me after they saw the trailer versus that 15-minute string of clips in that order, people said that they went from being like terrified to being very curious. And so that's one.
Thank you.
That's one thing I've tried for sure.
So we didn't go through the formalities of putting a labeling on it of rating, but it would be like PG-13. It's not. This isn't. I mean, this is.
It's Richard
If
Martin,
you
so
can handle some swears, you know, it's really not. It's not as.
No.
Hopefully no
gory
nudity
as-
though.
I mean,
You would
personally,
hope so.
You would.
I mean, I think the first line of the trailer
God damn
would
it.
scare anybody from taking their mother to it. It's like, I'm taking my mom. She's 84 years old, and my dad, who's going to cackle and think it's hilarious. My mom, maybe not so much, but it's like, I know enough about it to where it's like, I know I can probably distract her for that moment when that part comes, and then we're good for the rest of the movie. So it's like, I don't think you have to be too concerned.
I'm
My
not telling
sister,
everybody about the movie. I'm like the opposite. I'm not embarrassed to sell. I'm like, just go see it. I'm sending the link to everybody.
I'm scared of my sister. Like, she saw the portrait of Richard, and I think because it wasn't of her, she was like, what the fuck is this? Like, no, oh, well done. That's a hand-painted oil painting. It looks incredible. Must have taken you more than 6 months to paint, and I can see the detail in your work. Well done. You've really come far. Just like, what the fuck? I was like, oh my God. And then she said something else, like it's concern troll central at my house. It's like, I'm really worried about you, something like that. And I'm just like, oh my God, I just don't. So there's two ways I can play it. I can just pretend like that's not happening and don't mention it, and our relationship can drift apart. Or I can say, F that, you're coming. And she can just sit there and like hit me, or like, I don't know, do whatever crazy sister thing that she wants to do to me. And then maybe she might think about it in some different ways or have some questions, and it might like bridge the gap maybe. It's just so foreign, cryptocurrency, to like normies, isn't it? There's so many steps, and some people, if they're familiar with other cryptos, it's much easier, but if they come from no crypto knowledge, it's a big gap, isn't it? I want to play another clip.
All right, so I've told you from the day one, like the main thing I don't like about it is it does nothing.
Well, I have to take that back. Yes, it does do something. It makes people money.
I don't think that HEX is a Ponzi scheme, but Ponzi schemes also make people money until they don't. I just don't see the value. Like, I am a finance professional. What I look for is value. What is the value?
Doesn't money bring you value? You mean to tell me that if I asked you, Lamont, can I borrow $150? You said, sure, Kelly, I'll give you $150. And I bought HEX with it, and then told you in 2 years, you know that $150 loan, I turned it into $40,000 and I'm giving it to you. Would you say to me, Kelly, I'm principled, I'm a finance professional, I'm not going to take money? Is that what you would say to me?
I'm not sure I would turn that down.
Nice. I like her a little more now.
Do you know what? Something I wanted to add to that is like, I love that pivot that you see with her. I mean, at that point, I mean, I don't know which way she goes. She's the scam investigator, right? It's like you can see that in the clips that Maddie shared that are part, that actually they came from the from Highest of Stakes to hand out to different people that were helping out promote around the country. So it's kind of a prolonged trailer, but it's actually in like, what is it, 14 different segments, Maddie? And then and then Maddie did the solid of putting them all together in one thing. So instead of having to click through 14 things, he's got it all together. So I'd highly recommend going and checking that out if you haven't seen it. But the thing that I loved about that is like, she's the scam investigator, and you can hear in her voice right then to where it's like she's kind of starting to drink the Kool-Aid, right? She's kind of like, well, wait a minute, it's like there's money to be made. And then I think it's also an example of how the other dude, Lamont, is like he's at that part of the circle where it's like too smart for his own good, right? It's like he's kind of like he's flooded himself out of it, just like my financial advisors and my family's financial advisors were like, well, what's it backed by? What's it backed by? And then you try to go down the rabbit hole with them of like, well, what's the US dollar backed by? What aircraft carriers? It's a common belief in a certain thing being of value, blah, blah, blah. And then they're just going to fight you on it, and they stonewall it because they can't go to the next level, where she's come over the arc. And she sees kind of like, well, wait a minute, it is all kind of a Ponzi, right? It is all kind of like just a belief-based thing. And if people are believing in this, what's wrong with it? This isn't me supporting a Ponzi. This is like me buying Tesla and expecting someone to buy it from me later when it's worth more. How is it any different? So it's like that part in particular I really love. And the back and forth between them two, the way that the way that Pat and Grant were able to craft that portion of the story where it was entertaining and educational. I don't know. I could go on and on, but I'll stop it there.
Tesla makes cars, and HEX makes delayed gratification.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they did a
Which
great
is
job with
very
that, and I
valuable.
thought that both of them as detractors in the movie like were good at playing at like doing their job at like investigating and trying to get to the bottom of what they could understand, but also came at it because of that from a pretty open perspective, and like we're really, I mean, the moments with Richard, the moments that we had, everything about it was they're all super genuine. So like I really respected, you know, the time that they put into all of it too.
Did Eric Wall make it in the video?
I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if I don't think that like you had
It
any
wasn't
interviews
memorable.
with him. Like he wasn't in there. Like there might have been some debate footage.
Yeah.
It might have been there,
from
but he
that,
can't remember
but
seeing
I don't
him.
remember seeing anything of him like.
Yeah, not really that memorable.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a
Shame.
couple.
Maybe
clips.
Erica Wall would have done better.
Maybe he didn't wear his wizard suit. Maybe that's why you didn't recall him.
Yeah.
I want to lean in actually to that clip because I struggled a bit with that clip because I was just getting so mad at that crypto professor guy. You know, it's just I think it's like 2 years of people in our life kind of saying the same things to us just gets you riled up, doesn't it? So this was a question posed to you all, and I'm gonna. So the crypto professor struggles to see the value in HEX. For me, the value is in the code. The code ensures that the yearly inflation of 3.69% is paid to stakers. So let's go through some staking mechanics and T-shares and how to earn passive income. But before we do, I just want to make it clear that to the audience, especially if they're new to HEX, that you don't have to stake. I think only about 10% of HEX is actually staked, and you choose if you want to stake, and you choose how much you want to stake and for how long you want to stake. So having said that, do you guys want to just put a little bit of knowledge out there for people that might be watching that are new to HEX, just so they have something to sort of, you know, to learn from, like how can it relate back to legacy in terms of it being a certificate of deposit and its functionality like through staking and T-shares?
Well, I mean, I think that like traditionally people had staking ladders in a similar way, and like CD ladders, they would have different CDs that would expire at different lengths of time. You know, so there'd be 6-month ones, all the way 2-year ones, 18-month ones, and you could, you know, schedule your money to come out of your CD ladder at you know set points, so you'd be able to get your interest and then reinvest your money how you plan. And that's a similar idea with HEX staking.
Yeah. It's long-term thinking, though. I want to reiterate what Hodbrill said, is that we're even seeing this with the Pulse Chain launch too, but crypto for some can become just a degenerate gambling casino. And you really need to shift your mind away from that and realize that we're talking about months and years here, not days and weeks. And so if you can't hold on to something for longer than a couple of weeks, you're not even going to, you might as well just not even buy HEX at all. Like go back to McDonald's or whatever. But this can teach you a better way. Like it has taught a lot of people better financial literacy, because we don't get that in school, right? The education system is almost rigged against us. We're like, hey, can I learn how to do my taxes? No, you can learn, you know, ancient like U.S. history of like some president that, you know, nobody cares about. And so we need to rebuild everyone's financial literacy. We need to teach people how to think for their whole lifetime. So stagger your staking ladder, do it, you know, every biannually, yearly, whatever works for you. But just realize that like for everyone that you see that, you know, got their overnight billionaire success story, there's like, you know, thousands of people that have lost money, and they don't really talk so loudly when they lose money. So the one guy that invested in Shiba, I mean, he didn't get rich overnight, right? The one guy that made millions on Shiba, he still held it for a couple of years. And the best thing, a lot of these early Bitcoiner guys or the Dogecoin people that actually made money, the best thing they did was they forgot about their investment, because it prevented them from shooting themselves in the foot by chasing these shiny objects. So.
Yeah, that's what I tell anybody that I am helping, you know, to get involved in onboarding, is I'm like, the best thing you can do with this is to find a way to sit on your hands or forget about it. You know, like that's the best thing you can possibly do. Is once you set up whatever staking ladder you want, like set an alert for the next time your next stake that comes due in 2 years or whatever it is, and then just forget about it till then, because it doesn't serve you any purpose to like, spend your time toiling away and overthinking about it when it's the worst thing you can do is sell earlier than necessary anyways.
I often tell new onboarders that crypto favors the patient even over the intelligent sometimes. So you can outwit yourself seeing something that you want to jump into. And the way I see it, and you have to change your whole mentality when you're a holder, right? Of if I'm going to do something that, could maybe 2x a year or so, I mean, that's still a lot. But if you're constantly chasing a 10x or above every month, people get wrecked that way. They don't. It's funny that you'd think that those people would end up holding the bigger bag at the end, but that's not the case. Especially if you look, back when, when people held Bitcoin. I mean, let's say that Mt. Gox did do that payout, right? That'd be the best thing that happened. Some of those people that they couldn't degen away their tokens. And what if they get it all? How many are going to degen their tokens? I mean, we all know that Bitcoin would drop astronomically in price if these people got their hands on some actual held Bitcoin, right? For the most part. But yeah, I would say like to tell, to get on people onboarded to HEX, it's like, okay, you're going to hold. Look at what happened to all of these people who actually made crypto money in crypto. A lot of them don't. They all hold. They're all patient. So patience is bigger than cleverness.
Yep.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the story of most Bitcoin people that I meet that aren't like super wealthy that had something to do with it. And their story is, I bought Bitcoin, it went up, I sold it, and then it kept going up. I mean, that's most of the time what they tell you,
And some of them are mad about it. Like, you made money.
Yeah.
You probably paid off debts. You're better off than most people in crypto if you made any money selling your Bitcoin. Especially if you sat and mined it and made more money than the electricity bill, which is astronomical when you're mining anything proof of work. You still made out ahead, so that's not a sad story.
Right.
Raquel, you were going to say something?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I think specifically when talking about HEX, people like to talk about how they want savings. Like, oh, I don't have any money in my savings. But this is better than saving with a bank because it's a savings account that you have full control of. Whereas, like, you have a savings in a bank where they can do whatever they want with your money. And you earn more than having savings in a bank. So it's like one of the ways that I get to talk to people who are new about it.
So 38% APR. Toby.
Yep. All right, get ready to clip this, everybody, because this is my elevator pitch. So basically, as it was originally posited to people, HEX is like a CD on the blockchain. So just like a certificate of deposit that you would do at your bank, the longer you hold it, the better interest rate you get. To understand where that interest comes from, HEX inflates at 3.69% a year. And then you might ask, well, wait a minute, I hear people saying 38% APY. Where's that from? Well, if only 10% of the people are staked and only stakers get the inflation, there you are at 36.9. It gets bumped a little bit because of end stake penalties, which go to those stakers as well. I'm not going to get into that to try to keep it because we're almost to our floor on the elevator, right? So the other piece is, if you think about it, if you're staked beyond the average length and you're earning that 40% of your APY, it's a hedge to the downside. What I mean by that is if you literally just do the math, the price could go down 20% a year forever, and your fiat value would be the same because it's approximate, but the math is there if you want to check it out. Because you have 40% more coins a year, the price could go down 20% and you're not losing any fiat value. The converse of that is if you're getting 40% more coins a year and the price goes up, you've just amplified your gains to crazy levels.
So the truth
That's not even counting
code.
emergency and stakes either, right? The people that just straight get out. Yeah.
So it's called like the truth engine. Like the code is the law and you interact with the code, and the code pays you if you've staked for 7 years, the average stake length, the 38% APR in HEX terms So the code can never lie. The code will always pay you out in HEX terms. So Richard, through staking, only the stakers are getting the inflation. So he's rewarding delayed gratification because it's a good human trait. And Richard is trying to make better humans. And he made self-help books. So I think it's a really beautiful thing. And if you read the HEX contract in detail, you'll see some of the mathematical genius that's also gone behind it, which we won't get into today. But yeah, thanks everyone for your contributions there. I thought that was really excellent. We've got a final question or two to wrap up. But first we have a troll in the chat, and I love trolls, and we're going to go through it because I think the troll actually had some really good points, and I kind of agree with like some of the points, which is kind of cool. So they did that thing where they like said something kind of good and then kind of trolly, which is like also fun. So this is just like the first one. So the problem that they think is that Richard's marketing is for people not smart enough to understand crypto. Well, I don't know. Like what do you guys think about that? I mean, he's using pretty base language. Like I've got a PP, look at my shiny objects. Like people like money. That's a pretty simple thing. Like in the clip you saw that old guy that's like, what's so good about this? He's like price go up. So people can't be that stupid, I don't think.
Can I answer that one?
Yes.
I mean, it's like, okay, if Rune Dragon knows a lot about crypto, yet he is somehow aware of RH, how did it happen? Right? So it's like, obviously the marketing piece works if it's getting people's attention, and then from there, you know, you kind of separate the wheat from the chaff. Who's going to?
How about you educate people, bro? I mean, people, yeah, maybe they're stupid in one thing, but it doesn't mean they can't learn something. It's kind of a doomer mentality, bro.
Yep.
Pretty fucking
Yeah,
sad.
and I mean, and come on now, it's like you don't really have to be that intelligent to like buy some coins in crypto. I'm not saying that it doesn't like take some understanding to like understand how it all works, but to get on an exchange, put some money on it, and then buy some freaking crypto does not take a genius to do. You know, it really doesn't. You know, I mean, I see some very old people that have hard times getting very much else done.
I think Rune Dragon should sell all of his hacks right now. Emergency
I'm loving this. This is the best one. This is the best one.
Let me double
the
check
highest
my
stakes
limit
movie won't do crap into crypto. It might do the opposite. So to play devil's advocate, right? Let's say it was a sell the news event. It comes out. It's actually received really well. Sell out 40 cities times 2 nights. And then the price on the 6th goes and it dies in the arm. Is that going to make a difference to the end game at the end of the cycle? I think it's actually
first of all,
no. Yeah, and I don't disagree that they might do that. Any type of release style date like that we have, like on this date, tends to be a buy the rumor, sell the news type of event. And he is right that like in the sense that like this particular release that we're doing, you know, like what we were talking about. Maybe my wife doesn't want to see it, or my mom doesn't want to see it. Like so far. I mean, now here I am bragging now. I was being all humble before, but so far doesn't look like they're going to have that much of a chance to see it anyways, because most of these cities are selling out before you know it. So like, you know, it's like this particular release, I don't think is going to onboard a ton of new people, because this is a lot of Hexicans that are super excited to see this movie and that are already involved and already onboarded. So like, is there going to be tons of new faces out there at this release? No, probably not. But will that hopefully snowball into something that you'll see down the road much later? Sure.
I think so.
Really quick, I want to kind of just actually, I do agree with that guy on that particular point of I think it probably will be a non-event. I think people, because I got to just echo what Big K said, right? Like, who's actually going to go see this movie? You got a theater full of 50, 100 seats, 40 cities. And it's like basically everyone that's already in HEX, and they're bringing maybe their close friends or family that probably already know about HEX too. So I think people are assigning a lot more price potential to this event than there really will be. I think it's going to be kind of a nothing burger for the price. But all of this stuff right now, like you said, Class, it's all priming the pump, right? It's like we're really gearing everything up so that it's really all just about macro sentiment. When people get bullish again, they're going to find the movie on their own. And I don't think the small clan of 50 people per theater is going to really change the near-term price. But again, like you said, it doesn't matter in the long run.
So I've got something bullish to say. I know I just played the devil's advocate there, and you guys just came straight with me down into hell. Like I was just playing the devil's advocate, and you're like, "Yeah, you're right." Like, guys, like, geez,
You're right,
like,
Room
wait,
Dragon.
just sucked you into my little.
Well, I
playing the
do
devil's
want to
advocate, guys.
Being
But yeah, I just
and I
think
like your devil's advocate. If there's a good dip, that would be a great time for those that have been paying attention early to get involved. And I mean, if a lot more people end up seeing this movie on streaming platforms in the near future, then those people will probably be pretty happy that they got involved with that dip.
Yeah, it's a network effect, and it's like we can actually see it in the chart, like the day that the announcement was made, right? Everyone thought that was going to be a sell the news event. I even considered, hey, it's like, is this going to be a sell the news event? I'm eager to see. And I watched it, and if you look at the daily chart, it's a big long leg doji down. So there's a big red candle down. It almost totally engulfed the previous day's candle, and it wicked all the way back up. So you end up with, like, I think it's called a hanging man, right? So there's like a little candle body, long red wick. That's gigantically bullish. And what that's showing you is that people tried to push the price down. It all got bought up like that. You know, so I think it could be something like that we could see, and that volatility is good, you know, shaking out weak hands. I think part of the reason that price recovered so quickly is that people understood, do I want to be on the sideline if this really does go apeshit? You know, do I want to be out thinking like, hey, I bought a local, or I sold a local top, so maybe I can buy back later? Do you want to take that chance with your bag? Because, you know, being in 40 cinemas across the country, and then working on being in Europe and around the world in physical cinemas, and then being on a, you know, global network for streaming, the network effect would indicate to me that, just like Coffee and Claz were saying, it's priming the pump. It's like, is it going to be an immediate reaction? No, but you're slowly building pressure. It's almost like a magma chamber of like a volcano, right? It's going to take a minute until it hits that tipping point where it erupts, and you might not see that in the price chart immediately. But, you know, do you want to take the chance gambling of when the volcano is going to go off?
Yeah. Plus, I mean, also, just to be like, this dude is set on a few different things. Where is RH on this, or when's his movie? Like, he is a feature of the movie, but like, this is a documentary on crypto and HEX and him, and like, and for all that, like, sure, he signed off on it, but it was their licensing on how they wanted to portray him and everything else in the ecosystem. So like, it wasn't, and it's the highest of stakes as the owner. Like, Richard owns none of it and has no like part of it in that regard whatsoever. So he doesn't get to choose when it gets released. He doesn't get to choose how it gets marketed. None of that, you know. So I mean, it's just they're like completely separate entities, you know.
Yep.
Which makes that makes the documentary like have that much more validity.
Absolutely.
Which is valuable. And then it's also. Go ahead.
Sorry. I don't mean to cut you off, Maddie, but yeah, it's like, it just made me think that like, it's when Patrick and I, when we sat down to this, like at the table to discuss this from day one, they were like, what if we expose that HEX is a scam? And I was like, 10-4, like, do it, go for it. Like, I'm looking for that, you know? So like, from the moment one, we're into the idea of being as truthful and as fair to both sides as possible, and uncovering anything that was to be found, you know? I always said I would hope that they would tell me first before anybody else, but you know, but no, you know,
and that makes it real, and that's an important part of this whole equation and this whole story is for people to know that it's real. I think another point that we know publicly is that RH had what's called a final right of refusal on the film. And so if they were like slandering us or something, then I don't think that it would have gotten this far. And so that's exciting to me as well. When it comes to price dips, you know, an important thing to remember is that price dips are opportunities for impatient people to pay patient people. And that's part of what HEX is about being patient.
So here's my bullish comment. When HEX was released, my numbers aren't going to be perfect, right? But it was like 4 zeros, 0.4 zeros and a 4, okay? And it went on to do its 10,000x and peaked at 51.2 cents, right? Pulse Chain, what was the number when it first came out? 0.4 zeros and a 4. Anyone? And the liquidity is bonded, guys. It's bonded to PLSX. It's bonded to HEX. It's bonded to HEX that came over from Ethereum. It's bonded to everything. So I'm so bullish. There's like a timing thing, and I'm not good with it because my attention span is so short. But obviously, it's a 4-year cycle, and I think I think we're on course. Like, if you compare the chart, the fresh HEX chart, to the fresh pulse chain chart, the initial candle was like opposites, but after that, it looks like exactly the freaking same. So like, there's method to the madness. Everything has a purpose. Everybody was saying this same old crap probably at the beginning of HEX. Not that I was there, but I'm assuming you guys that were there that they were spinning crap worse than what they are now.
And we forget, like, it's the exact same sentiment as the 2018, 2019 era, where people are just so tired and exhausted, and like, I thought this bear market might be easier, this time around, but nope, it sucks just as bad. But now I got a little more money, so I guess it's better that way, right? But it does suck. Like, it's even though you could feel it happening, right? You could feel kind of the excitement bubbling up, and I feel it in my bones. I don't know. It's got to be any minute now. Bitcoin halving, BlackRock, what else? Federal Reserve rate going down. Everything. The stars are aligning. So
BRICS.
BRICS. What's that?
Oh, just the whole. What was it? Brazil, Russia.
Oh, that yeah. That one.
India, China, South Africa.
So the dollar's losing it, right? Like, it's not as.
That's a rabbit hole. We'll get into that some other time.
All right, there's two more questions, and then we're going to round it off there. So this is to Big K and Toby. Can you please tell us more about the official red carpet event on the 3rd of August? And is there going to be a sequel to the film?
I don't know about a sequel. I mean, I'm in. If somebody wants to do a sequel, I'm down. There's a lot of material that was left on the cutting room floor. So like, I feel like there's a whole series worth of stuff that we didn't use. But
the story is still happening. Are you kidding me? Of course, there's going to be a sequel. Come on.
Yeah, the story's still happening. So yeah,
it can't.
I mean, it seems right for it. You know what I mean? It's this is like the whole next epoch, right? It's like we've got the HEX arc, and now this.
We need a TV show that'll pump it.
Yeah,
what's going on?
Spin-off series. It's, crazier things have happened.
And as far as the red carpet event, I don't know. That's the 3rd. It's going to be in Miami. It's going to have some we think there will be some notables that will be there, influencers and or public local figures. So I think there'll be media as well. All the red carpety kind of glitz. It's in South Beach. I'm not planning anything beforehand, but and really after is going to be kind of tight. Like, we'll do a little after party thing, but nothing too crazy for Miami, just because I have to be on a plane to be at Chicago the next day for the next couple of days as well. So like, I'm not saying I'm not going to cut loose a little, but within reason. Than a 9 a.m. flight reasoning.
We'll see. We'll see if we're all just destroyed, because it's like I'm hopping a plane from Miami the next morning to go hang with Maddie in Austin and help with the premiere host there to give away some free tickets to the movie and go check out his conference and things. And then the very next morning, I'm flying to Ohio to host the premiere in Dayton. So it's like and plus I'm considerably older than Big K. So I got to be really, really careful, but I am easily persuaded to I succumb to peer pressure, which is very pathetic to admit at this age. But it's like, if the energy's there and like people are having fun, I'm like, we'll see how it goes.
I'm with you, Toby.
Hopefully
I do
don't
that
miss
as well.
Austin. Yeah,
I'm an
tough,
instigator.
man.
I'm such an instigator. Guys, Rune Dragon, he does actually love us. He didn't bail on HEX when it hit the bottom. He
We
bought.
love you too, Rune.
We
Shout
love
out to
you
Rune
still,
Dragon.
Rune.
Asking the good
Okay,
things.
so going back to the original question of the stream, do you think this documentary will bring adoption? Is it possible for HEX to do another 10,000x?
Yeah, totally. I mean, think about it. It's like from the local low, that's only $4.6. If you don't think HEX can get to 4.6, we were at what 0.0046, I think was like the local low, like in
Was it?
June. Yeah, I think we dipped there. I'm not sure if it was
Really?
you don't see it on TradingView, but
when you're talking about when Pulse launched, basically. Or
yeah,
like
basically right.
afterwards?
Yeah, the buck fiat candle, and then like all the other little fall off after that, and then we dipped in the very beginning of June. Because I remember I bought the bottom. It's like some of my limits hit. I didn't hit down at 4.6, but still, it's like let's say it's 6.6, whatever. A 10,000x from like 0.0066 is $6.60, right?
Right.
Yeah, from half a penny, $5. It's not entirely insanely important. Like not unbelievable.
Yeah.
Not unbelievable. I mean, I've seen lots of calls that like I like the calls of like $1.50, $1.80 range in the next bull market. I mean, that seems conservatively lovely. But yeah, sure. I think it's all total. That's very
10,000x is
I screwed up at
$46.
Thanks, Maddie.
Yeah.
Thanks. Didn't even let me correct my own error. I'm like, wait, I'm literally on my calculator. I'm like, did I just totally fuck that up?
Oh,
Yeah,
$46 is getting a little. I'm not saying that impossible, but I don't
Maybe
know about
2
this
cycles,
next-
right?
Well, right.
Yeah.
Two
Two
cycles.
cycles. Two cycles. Yeah, I think we can do it in 2 cycles.
I mean, if you do a 10,000, if you cut off a 0 every cycle and you do 1,000x, then I think for people we can all live with that. We can all live with.
Yeah.
And
from the price
T-shares are going down to like 1 million, like in the first locking period of HEX. So yeah, I think that it could do another 10,000x.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Look, I would like to see some more teamwork. And if you look at Metcalfe's law and adoption, a lot of people have dropped off Twitter because we hit the bottom and they can't control their emotions. I think, it's not been the easiest time when the prices are so low, but we should be acting as a team. And we're very good at that. I think the HEX community, we're a bit loud and fight each other and so on. But we need more team players at the bottom, not just at the top. But we'll get there, I think. And this movie is just...
I was going to say, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with everybody. I mean, yes, there's lots of vocal fudders out there, but I'm impressed with the team effort I've already seen from everybody buying tickets and getting ready to come out to the premiere. So I'm pleasantly bolstered by all that. I can't wait to see how far, because we're still pretty low in the bear market, so
it's encouraging. And it's like, and it's tough, because it's like, especially during the bear and, if you're not Coffee or Maddie or a guy that's going to put in like hours and hours and hours every week to get out there and like grind and stream consistently for years, it's tough. It's like, how do I make an impact? What can I do to make a difference in the community or help with HEX adoption or whatever? And, and some people's reach is better than others in person with their onboarding skills. So, this gives people like a hands-on way, like there's a theater near you, pretty sure, right? And if it's not sold out, you've got an opportunity to help that, right? And, friends, family, tickets in the lobby to other people that look like they might be into crypto, and buy a handful and like hand them out, like whatever it takes. It's like, I ended up getting all those tickets to give away in Austin. It's like, it's ways to encourage people and take a barrier to entry down, right? So I'm hoping that not only whoever attends Maddie's conference, but other people that are in Austin that are Hexicans go. But I hope there's people that have never heard of HEX that somehow find out that, hey, I can go and I can go for free. Okay, cool. And then that's like that much easier for them to go check it out and open their minds, and maybe they're the next whale.
I love it. We're going to go around the room and you guys can say where people can find you. And if you have anything else you want to say, anything you want to share, you go right ahead. So Coffee, do you want to start?
Yeah, Crypto Coffee 369 on every platform: Twitter, YouTube, Telegram, Patreon. I tried to get every social, Instagram, even TikTok. So follow me if you want to. The only thing I've got for sale right now is you can join my Patreon if you like what I do, if you want to support the channel and just talk to me one-on-one. I've got a chat room, and it's not really, I'm not going to pretend it's some super alpha chat, but you're supporting the channel and you're helping us like collaborate and ask me one-on-one questions. A lot more of my personal time, because there's just 24 hours in a day, right? And I have somewhat of a life. Coming out with HEX Passive Income V2 very, very soon. I mean, by very soon, maybe 1 or 2 more months. That'll be a course to onboard newbies, but I'll talk more about that when it actually exists. That's it for me.
Thank you. Hot Pro.
I am Hod Pro on Telegram and Twitter. Yeah.
Very good. And you've got musical skills, and I'm sad I didn't hear it today, but next stream, okay. Thank you, Hudbrew. I'm glad you're here this show. Raquel.
Welcome. My username on Twitter and Telegram is both at Raquel is now. And yeah, I just want to help bring more people into HEX. I talk about it a lot at work. I talk about it, like out during the day. I made a joke to somebody else saying that I would wear as many bikinis as I have to help people learn something more about it.
We appreciate that. Thank you. Maddie.
I'm soon going to start chronicling my journey with Time Pays Me, which allows me to pay my future self with Pulse and PulseX. And it reminds me of my early days in HEX when I wasn't streaming, actually, when I did my biggest stakes. I'm about to do that when it comes to Pulse and PulseX. And so, of course, it's terrifying, but it makes me feel alive because I have to be brave in the face of, is crypto still going to be around in 10 years? And now I take my liquid funds and I place my bets. And, some of my locks are going to be 1 year. Some of them are going to be 10 years. I might even do 1% of my portfolio for 55 years in Time Pays Me so that it'll drip back to me over time. So if you want to see my journey in that, you can follow me at Maddie Allen on YouTube and Twitter.
Thanks, Maddie. Cool. Appreciate you. Big K.
I'm at Big Kirkowski on Twitter and on Telegram. You can find me there. You can check me out in the Highest of Stakes movie coming up. Go out to a theater near you and take a look. I'm on the Hex Happy Hour show too. That's every Friday, 5 o'clock, CabanaCrypto.com. Or you can also find me sometimes on Steak and Bake, but of course that's at random points in time. So it's, you never can tell when we all pull it together for that.
Too much smoke and mirrors to see you when you're on there.
Indeed. That's right. Other than that,
green candles.
Yes. But this has been tons of fun. Thank you for having me. This has been a blast.
Thank you for being here. Toby.
Yeah, I'm at Toby1_Hexobi on Twitter is where I am most frequently. I do a daily TA update. Right now it's just for eHex because that's the most tools I have available to me on TradingView. They don't have all the Pulse Chain stuff over there yet, but I'm working on that next. And the idea behind it is to basically kind of calm people's fears and exuberance. If we're going up like crazy, I give them an idea of where to expect some resistance and not think it's like the moon phase is over. And if it's crashing, that it's not gloom and doom and going to zero because there's various levels of support. And then that information can help people be more informed in their dollar cost averaging, not financial advice at all. And but I love that, and it kind of scratches my trader itch, so I can play with my charts and my line drawings and not wreck myself and just stake and chill, which has served me very well over the last 3 years. But thanks for having me, Claz. I'm a big fan and have tremendous respect for everybody on the panel.
Thank you all for being here. I appreciate your time. And I'm always surprised when people say yes. And you guys in particular, you lead busy lives and you've got a very high following. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you, chat. Great questions, great comments. And we'll see you all next time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.